Recently, I guess in the past few months, I've just been seeing so much OC hate, and it's just on every OC trope ever. But I guess to alleviate that and do the opposite, I kind of wanted to talk about all of the different OC related traits, tropes, everything that I really like. Because there's just so many really cool things, and I think it's really neat how many of these ideas overlap with other people's OCs, and just how many of these are reoccurring things. That's awesome. And I guess I want to ramble about them a little bit. So if I am all over the place in this, I do apologize in advance. Here's just a bunch of things, not in order, that I really love when it comes to OCs. To start it off, I love when OCs change and age over time. Like, all of my OCs have basically grown with me in the sense that each of them age as I age, and as a reflection of that, they basically get older. And so I love seeing how other people's characters sort of age up and all of the really neat features and what stays and what doesn't. I think it's really cool. Especially when people post their OC growing up slideshows. It's just so delightful, like sliding and seeing the character age over time. I'm like, I've seen their entire life. That's so awesome. I don't know. I think it's really cool, and more people should post their entire OC's lifespan and how they grow up. Wrinkles, guys. Draw them with wrinkles. I want to see all of your OCs getting old and in the retirement home, actually. I think it'd be neat. Second off, this is like one of those things that sort of began when I was really young, and I still hold this sort of fondness for because I guess it does invoke some form of nostalgia, but outrageous hybrid OCs. I don't know. There's something about those neon colored wolf, angel, demon things that just, it fills me with much joy. Because it's just all over the place, and it's really reminiscent of the Gacha Life mini movies and the Gacha Life music videos. They're just so fun. And I think it's really funny how some of those OCs have still existed and stayed over time. And you'll never catch me hating on them, because I just think it's fun. And as a concept, outrageous hybrids are really cool. One of the really cool things I remember seeing was somebody who kept one of their old, all over the place hybrid OCs, and then translated them to be a more matured version of that character. It was so cool. It blew my mind. It's awesome. More hybrids, please, please, please. Thank you. If you do have any, let me know. This next one, it's always discussed, and it's no surprise that this sort of OC genre is disliked a lot, but I still think it's quite fun, and that's of course Mary Sue or overpowered characters. And this of course applies to like actual story narrative characters, or just like somebody with a very overpowered OC. It's a fun concept, and I think some people take it way too seriously when it comes to an outrageous character design or story. It's really fun when a character is overpowered in some way, and it can be written good, trust. But I still think even if they are poorly written, that it's just a ton of fun. And Mary Sue's will always have like a very special place in my heart. Again, I think that's a little bit because of the Gacha Life past of all of those hated child Gacha Life movies. Every other time that I see somebody complaining about an overpowered character, I don't know, I just don't think it's all that serious, and not every character has to be power scaled, I don't think. Recently, I've noticed a lot of hate for particularly self-inserts. Just generally, I don't know where this idea came from, but self-inserts have always been such an important staple for fandoms and how fandoms and fans of a certain media interact with that piece of media that they love. And so it's kind of bizarre to see this rising dislike for self-inserts, because they really are just not an issue, because they aren't an actual character and they are very personal. And in general, I've noticed just a lot of dislike for characters when they're someone's original character. They're not even yours. But honestly, I've never really made a self-insert myself. But I can easily understand the idea of wanting to create one and then having that character be inserted into your favorite media. You know what I mean? I think it's also really cool when people have that exact same insert for every piece of media that they like, so it's more or less just like different variants of this same character for every fandom that they're in, or when they jump from universe to universe. I think that's neat. It's just kind of surprising to see how large the dislike for self-inserts has gotten in these past few months. Or at least that's just on Art Talk, really. This one I noticed a lot of people talking about, and it's more of a trait rather than a specific overarching character thing, but facial crests, they've had a sort of rise in discussion recently, but I think they're really cool, and just like very distinct features in a character that makes them easily recognizable to me is just so awesome. There's particular traits in a character that I'm able to recognize, and because of that, it makes that particular character easy to remember. So when they come up on my For You page again, I'm like, oh, it's that person's character. I remember that one. It's the one with the blank. You know what I mean? I think it's really neat, and there's just so many really cool designs that people have for their characters, and I think it just makes it all the more personalized. And I don't know, facial crests are just one of those things that have become really popular, and I think for good reason. This particular thing I was really surprised about. There's been a lot of dislike recently for very lore heavy or angst heavy characters, and while I can agree that sometimes it can be a little bit insane how much this character goes through and just kind of making them a punching bag for the sake of a punching bag, but at the end of the day, it's not your character, and some of them are really cool. I noticed this discussion coming up a lot, especially with OC trauma videos, particularly like going back to the Despite Everything It's Still You, when people's characters were becoming absolutely insane whatevers, right? There was just a lot of dislike for those sort of lore heavy characters that have just a lot of misfortune placed upon them. I think some of them were done really cool. Like the one where their character became a bunch of stars. I thought that was neat, though I do think some of them were a little bit shock value-y. There's just so many really cool things. But yeah, I really love characters who have a lot of lore attached to them. And that can easily go for not even like actual lore, but just the development of that character itself. I love learning how particular characters have changed and evolved over time, especially when they started out as a fandom character and then just became their own thing, which happens a lot. It's just this linear journey for characters in any way that I just find so fascinating, and I love hearing about them. On that note, I also really love when characters have motifs or certain colors attached to them. And again, it makes them all the more recognizable and easy to spot in the wide array of artist original characters. But even then, I think it's just really cool when there's a distinct trait or motif or color that's attached to a character and is integral to that character. I think it's neat. I love hearing how those thematic elements are really important to that character and the backstory behind it. There's just so many really fun things about characters, and original characters are so personal inexperience that I don't really understand why people dog on other people's original characters, because at the end of the day, they're not your characters, and also you can make your own. You know what I mean? There's just so many things that can be done with an original character that even if something isn't your cup of tea, they still have the right to exist. Despite all that, I'd like to hear some of your favorite OC related things about your characters, and if anything in this video was applicable to them. I love hearing about people's characters. Use my platform as an OC yapping session. I love OCs. I think they're the coolest thing in the world. I love sharing things about OCs for people to do with their own. That's all. Bye!